joining me now is Allam Ahmad. He's an academic and the founder of the forum Sudan Knowledge. He joins us from London. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for finding the time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
First of all, I don't know if you're able to be in touch with people on the ground today, but can you give us a sense as to what the situation is like now for civilians after 3 days of apparently very heavy fighting?
Yes, I have been in touch, and also I've been following the news from all the other channels, the Arabic ones. The situation is getting worse, and conflicting information about who got what and who managed to control what. But for the civilians, two versions of stories. One of them, some have been able this early morning to, after being out of their homes for 2 days, to be able to return to their homes. They said the military allowed them to walk back homes. This is just according to some videos I have watched. And on the other hand, the doctors' union have reported the situation is getting worse, and there are dead bodies on the street, and they are actually asking or requesting even from the United Nations to allow them to some kind of safe corridors so that these dead bodies can be picked up from the streets. So the death toll is getting high, less civilian being killed, but again, the number of those who are in the random shooting is a little bit less, but there's still fighting going on.
Indeed, and as you suggest, there was this sort of attempt at a truce over the weekend to allow some civilians to get out of areas where the fighting is very intense. That truce didn't really last, did it? So now, as we look into a new week, do you think there is some hope of a peaceful resolution at the moment?
Unfortunately, no, but I tell you two things. I was listening to the military spokesman, the official spokesman. He was speaking around 2 hours ago, and he said the army is trying to minimize the casualties by trying to handle this war in a way they will make sure they will not have more civilians being killed. The rapid support forces are now having snipers on lots of buildings on tops. And according to the military spokesman, they said they can shoot those people on the snipers. But the problem, they are on the top of buildings, which all in either government buildings or they are buildings of civilians. So the two tactics are making this going to be prolonged. That's number one. Number two, despite the conflicting stories we've been hearing from last night and this morning, interestingly, the military spokesman confirmed in one of the Arab channels I was listening to that the rapid support group, they actually have taken Marawi airport. Yes, he said that was correct, and which is good in a sense. He acknowledged what is actually happening. And he said he's acknowledging it because he's not want to provide any false information. But at the same time, he confirmed this is just a matter of time. They will take over the airport again. And also, he reminded the viewers, this is a spokesman of the military, he said, the fact you see fire on the any military base, that doesn't mean the rapid support forces have taken that building. That means they have just put fire on the building. So we start to understand some of what is happening. We start to see unfolding stories. But to answer your question, it is not going in a more peaceful conclusion. Is still fighting on.
Indeed, and the situation on the ground pretty unclear. It's hard for us to ascertain what the army is doing, what the RSF is doing, who could be trusted here. But one thing we do apparently know is that it's only the National Army that has warplanes. The RSF doesn't. Does that suggest to you that at some point, if there's no peaceful resolution, the RSF will be simply outgunned? And that's actually how this fighting will end?
Yes, that's totally true. And all the people who have been expert on military operation have been listening to, that's a fact. The military will definitely have the upper hand. The only thing is prolonging this process to be concluded is that the rapid support forces, they are very experienced in militia kind of war. And the tactic they have used, they went inside civilians compounds, buildings within different districts. And other the military spokesman himself, he said they use the tactic of having snipers on the top of buildings. So they are just making it very difficult for the military to use the airplanes or to use this equipment, which could easily conclude this quickly. But that can help them, and the military can have an upper hand quickly on areas like airports, like anything outside towns. But unfortunately, the rapid support forces, they are very experienced on the small militia tactic one, but definitely the army will have the upper hand sooner or later.
And just finally, one last point, sir, on the sort of international actors that are, well, there are fears that they'll become more involved now. I'm thinking particularly of Egypt, because there are these reports that Egyptian soldiers have apparently been captured by the rapid support forces. The rapid support forces are actually blaming Egypt for some airstrikes, saying warplanes were taking off from an Egyptian camp inside Sudan. Do you think then Egypt might be more fully drawn into this fighting?
This is the main concern, really, because from one side, General al-Burhan, he kept confirming that he doesn't want any intervention from any support from any governments, or some government offers that. Egypt and South Sudan, they also offer to mediate, but the rapid support force, they see Egypt as not an honest broker here. So to be very frank, the situation with Egypt military apparatus being involved in Sudan is 50-50. It's possible from one side because Egypt is very keen on ensuring security in their neighbors. And from the other side, the military is very keen for Egypt not to be intervening, then it will cause chaos in the country. And the death roll with them, it will become something out of control. So we just have to wait and watch.
Allam Ahmad, thank you very much indeed, sir, for your time on the programme today.
My pleasure.